Okay, here we go to start the fourth quarter. Norristown in his second and long, called 15. Ball back at the 11-yard line. And it looks like a whistle. And is that another flag?
Oh, I hope not.
It looks like a penalty, initial indication against Cheltenham. Maybe lining up in that neutral zone.
I believe that was the call, Tom.
Penalty is offside against Cheltenham.
Now, they did not jump, but if they line up over that ball, the whistle blows immediately.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is the third consecutive penalty we've had.
I believe you're right. It's a little bit more manageable for the Eagles now. Let's see what Alfred does. Direct handoff, I think that's Jones. Crosses the 20-yard line to about the 22. It's going to bring up a second and about 4, maybe 5. Call that 3rd and 5. Norristown would love to get this first down and retain possession of the ball, Coach.
You know, as a coach, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, these are really difficult calls to make. You want to get your team in a position where you're in 3rd and short and able to run the ball for the first down.
Let's see what Norristown does here. Basic handoff straight ahead, and I think the surge, the offensive line push by the Norristown offensive line, I think is going to get them a first down. They're moving the chains, Bill.
And a great second effort by Hakeem Jones on that play to get that first down for the Eagles.
Let's credit Sean Van Alinda, Matt DePuro, and Kirk Burry for that push against the Cheltenham defense. Not forgetting the tackle, Alan Grantham and Seth Aronoff.
Norristown needs a nice, long, sustained drive here.
Number 1, Hakeem Jones. Well, as long as they're successful getting 3 or 4 yards a pop, you know, they'll be happy to keep the ball on the ground to keep that clock moving also.
Cheltenham has been very wary of the Norristown Eagles on the perimeter. Most of the success that Norristown has had has been up the middle through the tackles and not on the corners.
Second and, call it 8.5. Handoff over left tackle. Again, I believe that's number 1, Hakeem Jones. And Coach Grove sees that the Norristown offensive line surge is having its way at this time. And again, fourth quarter, Norristown's keeping more fresh bodies, playing them offensive team, defensive team, not utilizing as many players on both sides of the ball. That might be taking its toll now on Cheltenham.
Well, Tom, looking down at the field right now from our view up here, looking at all of the royal blue uniforms and looking across the field at the Cheltenham white and gold uniforms, Norristown has to have them outnumbered at least 2-1 right now in numbers alone.
Well, that's correct. Not that all the Norristown blue uniforms are in the game. That looks a little bit more intimidating, but Cheltenham is not really utilizing the small bench that they have, and that's about a skill level. That's all that's about. You have to play the best players at the positions, and coaches are forced to do that anymore. But it does take its toll. You look at the CB Wests of the world, the power teams like that, you know, they'll have a kickoff team, a punting team, an offensive, defense, a receiving team. They'll suit up 60 players and have 5 different teams. And what that does, that enables kids to come and be motivated to practice if they know they're going to get into the game in some capacity. Now, this timeout is interesting for Cheltenham. Coach Groh on the field addressing his defense for 2 things. It could be giving them a rest, but basically what he's seeing now is, hey, Norristown, we're not stopping them. And he's got to stop the momentum right now, and I believe that's what he's addressing right now.
Excellent point. I was thinking the exact same thing. Just a great timeout by Coach Groh. Try to fire up his team a little bit here and say, hey, you know, we're on the road against Norristown, the number 6 team in the state, and we're only down 2 touchdowns.
Right. They have to be proud and pleased with their effort so far. And there's the same left side of the Norristown line. That's number 64 in there now, Coach, or Seth Arnoff doing a fine job. 54, Alan Grantham, Matt DePiro, Kirk Burry, that offensive line is really doing an outstanding job here early in the fourth quarter. And Coach Grove says, until you stop it, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
And Coach Grove has to be extremely pleased right now with the way his Norristown offense is moving the football off tackle.
And there's Hakeem again getting close to the midfield stripe, which is where he has to go to get a first down. Depending on the official spot will determine that, and I believe that is a first down. Yes, it is.
Tom, most football coaches will tell you, in order to be a great football team, you have to be able to run the ball off tackle, and right now that's what Norristown is exploiting.
I've heard that before. You have to win the war in the trenches, and that's what that relates to. Is that right, Bill?
Absolutely.
Okay, Norristown 1st and 10 midfield. Here we are in the fourth quarter. Jamal Alford again back, hands off to Lou Samba. Hasn't carried for a while, and he's fresh, as you can see, and he is just pushing a tired and undermanned Cheltenham secondary down the field as he goes inside the 40 to the 38.
Well, right now, the Cheltenham Panthers defense, Tom, appears as if they are just hanging on. And I wouldn't be surprised if within the next play or two, one of these quick Norristown backs breaks free and gets in the end zone.
I agree wholeheartedly. I wouldn't be surprised myself. And Norristown, there's no need to actually go away from power football right now. There's no need to deviate from this recent drive. There's Alford on the keeper after the fake. Throws the defensive end a little bit, and Norristown's keeping the ball on the ground, and they are buying a lot of real estate at the expense of the Panther defense.
Another first down and a great call by Coach Grove. You know, as we said, there's no need to go away from the run, but just a slight little variation, a slight mix-up to fake the handoff off tackle and let your athletic quarterback sneak around end for a first down. Great call.
And that may allow the flanker, that may set up that flanker reverse a little bit too with Ricky Prate, although he's wide right now. So he's taking a defensive defender totally out of the picture as Norristown keeps the ball on the ground. Big hole for Samba. And just what you were talking about, Coach, just what Billy Michaels was talking about. And boy, was he a prophet on that. Lou Samba broke that for a touchdown, wearing down the Cheltenham defense. Outstanding projection, Coach Michaels. I'll let you comment now and take all the credit.
Well, thanks, but, you know, not much credit. Anybody could see that, you know, the Cheltenham Panthers were basically hanging on there, and with so many weapons in the backfield of Norristown, it really appeared that it was only a matter of time before they sprung free.
Okay, there's number 13 for Norristown. I want to give him a little credit. Ryan Blake. He's in the hole for number 14, Jordan Pizzari, who's 2 for 2 today. And it looks like he's 3 for 3, perfect 3 for 3 for Pizzari. And the score with, how much time do we have up there,
We have
Coach?
7:53 remaining.
7:53 to go. Norristown 21, Cheltenham 0.
We have one team.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Coach Grove chooses to dig a little deeper into his bench right now and use some substitutes in the back half of this fourth quarter. Some of these kids that come out all week long and work hard and, you know, don't generally get a chance to play, perhaps will be able to get in there and get some playing time later in this fourth quarter.
I think you'll see that Coach Grove has been very generous giving his younger kids and backup players playing time. Some of the earlier games where Norristown had convincing leads, he allowed a lot of his younger players to gain that valuable experience.
Well, Tom, you mentioned the cheerleaders earlier on. Right now they're firing footballs into the stands, and, you know, as far as the crowd, it still is holding on quite strong here.
Yeah,
so
this without a doubt, in my experiences the last few years, is the largest student turnout that I've seen at any Norristown football game, maybe with the exception of Thanksgiving game years ago. But it's good to see. And we hope maybe they're getting a taste of how exciting it can be to come to a high school football game supporting their team without without necessarily the motivation of an early dismissal. Penalty flags on the play as we're viewing the kickoff return by Cheltenham.
Well, Tom, on that kickoff, we had a couple players lock horns over on the Norristown bench. It was number 65 for Cheltenham, whose name is escaping me right now, and 33 for Norristown, I believe. And you know, I would look to see flags thrown on both sides here.
Well, the referees are down there discussing it. To be honest, I did not see that play. I was following the ball, so I'm glad that you were able to observe what transpired down here. And one thing you don't want to see as the game winds down, you don't want to see any cheap shots, unsportsmanlike play on either side. It's been a good, clean, hard-fought game. Cheltenham should keep its head held very high because they came in here undefeated Norristown team in Roosevelt Field before an enthusiastic student crowd and have done an admirable job.
And likewise, Norristown, you know, perhaps the score is not as they would wish it to be. However, 21-0 is certainly a great accomplishment against any team. You know, I feel Norristown has played a real solid game today, Tom.
Yeah, they have. With again, both teams have with the short week in order to prepare. Both teams come out here and play a very good football game. And I'm surprised. Cheltenham, for being 0-4, looks pretty solid to me. And it's going to be a good win for Norristown. But you know what? Next week, probably be their toughest test of the year. They're facing a Penn Ridge team. Talk about a raucous crowd up at Penn Ridge. A pretty good drive distance-wise. Penn Ridge has been an outstanding program the last 3 or 4 years. Norristown's been successful beating them the last 2 years. But it's going to be tough next Friday night going to Penn Ridge. They have one of the best backfields in southeastern Pennsylvania, one of the best players in Rhodes. So they're really going to be tested next week. If Norristown could finish today out and get through Penn Ridge, I think that state ranking is going to really be solidified.
Well, that certainly would be exciting for Coach Grove and his football team and all the fans here at Norristown also.
And let's also not forget the Norristown Marching Eagles. Norristown Eagles Marching Band, you might be able to hear in the background under the direction of Mr. Brown. They're small in number, but they practice long hours, as do the cheerleaders and all the teams at Norristown High School. The band won a big competition. They placed first in a state competition last Saturday in Harrisburg after performing pregame ceremonies here before the Quakertown game. So let's give the Norristown band, Mr. Brown, and their drill team a lot of credit for a lot of hard work, and we're going to see the numbers increase as the years progress for the music program at Norristown High School. That was number 24 on the carry, Jesse Patterson.
And Tom, I wish we had the statistics on that young man Patterson, but I'm guessing he has to be approaching 100 yards if he hasn't gone over that already.
I would think so. I never like to make a comment on or predict how many yards a player has, because then you read the paper the next day and you're either 100 yards short or 100 yards over. But he is certainly a workhorse, and he's broken some, and I would venture to think that he's close.
And just then he rips off 6 more yards.
Right.
Patterson in on the carry. Curtis Barry.
Call it 5, Billy. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 5.
Number 35.
Ball at midfield. Number 35 on the stop there was John Ivins. And the Norristown defense doing a great job. Ray Julian, Josh King, Dana Smith, Dexter Johnson, Danny Gant, Kirk Burry, Lou Samba, John Ivins, Jason Thompson, Hakeem Jones, Fireplug, Tyrone, Trey Heron, Jamal Alford, and Kevin Singleton. And I do see some numbers in there now for Norristown, Coach, if you want to point them out. Number 22, I don't know if that's a cornerback or a free safety or what. It looks like a cornerback for Norristown in. Try to point some of these players out that get in here. There's the option pitch and a great tackle. A great tackle by number 5 for Norristown, Kevin Singleton, the strong safety.
Number 5, Kevin Singleton.
Coach, why don't you clarify the job of the strong safety as opposed to the free safety?
Well, the strong safety in most situations is going to act like another linebacker, and generally he will follow the formation of the offense. So if the formation is strong to the right side, that's where you will see the strong safety, and he kind of has dual responsibility in that he has to be a linebacker in the pass or in the run situation, but then also in the pass he has to drop back and be a defensive back as well. So it's a unique position, and one that you definitely want to have a solid, strong athlete.
Okay, Coach, good explanation. And there's a keeper by Ellensworth, and he broke 2 tackles, and he cuts back inside the 40-yard line to about the 37.
Ellensworth on the keeper.
Nice bit of running.
Tackled by Alford.
And again, credit to this Cheltenham Panther team. You know, they're not dying, Coach. There is 5:38 left in this fourth quarter, and they are still playing hard.
Let me tell you something, Bill. Cheltenham has never been short on athletes. Now, Norristown may have a few more, some maybe better football players, but it amazes me that Cheltenham isn't big winners in most of the major sports, and basketball and everything else, because they have players and athletes. You'll see that when you go against them in basketball this year. Not to scare you or anything. That was number 42, Coach. Who was that looked like?
That's 42 for Norristown on defense. Right now, I don't have his name. He's a substitute. Let me check our program real quick and get that for you. That is Ray Julian.
Ray Julian, right. I believe he was a starter today, and we penciled him late, so he was not on our sophisticated game chart board here. We have great facilities up here in the Roosevelt press box. You got to watch. If we touch one of these wires, we may not get out of here alive. But the communications crew, under the direction of Mr. Anthony Koya, students are on the cameras here doing a great job for us, and it's a class operation. Second down play, and there's a fumble. I don't know if Cheltenham may have recovered. I don't see any Norristown players celebrating jubilantly at this time. So it looks like number 33 covered his own fumble.
I apologize. Is that a flag at midfield, Tom, or is that some
That's
sort
been
of
there the
debris?
whole second half. I wish they get rid of it. It looks like a flag. You and I must be the only ones that are bothered by that yellow speck right there at the 38-yard line. It does look like a flag, or it could be a napkin from a pretzel with a lot of mustard on it that makes it yellow. Okay, Cheltenham now. Third down and very long. Ellensworth fading out right, throwing downfield, could be intercepted. It is.
Alford intercepts the pitch.
Jamal Alford, number 3. You know, Bill, it seems like every game Alford comes up with a late game interception, and probably at that point loves that position because he's the free safety, am I right?
Absolutely.
He can roam, or he can follow the football, go to the football, and matter of fact, he pushed the other kid, I think it was Hakeem Jones. He didn't want him to get it, so he pushed him out of the way. So that's good. He's going to pad his interception stat.
I believe Jamal Alford is averaging at least 1 interception per game, and you're right about his position. The free safety spot is just like a center fielder in baseball, and you know, especially late in the game, he has an opportunity to just kind of camp out back there and pick off passes. New quarterback in for Norristown.
Should be Pagnotta, is it?
That is number 9, Mike Pagnotta.
All right, Mike Pagnotta, also an outstanding wrestler for Coach Steve Harner's wrestling program. Very talented. You're very fortunate in a high school level to have an outstanding backup quarterback. That's a luxury, and God forbid anything would ever happen to Jamal Alford, that Coach Grove would have somebody capable to go to. Let's see if you can point out any other new offensive players out there, Coach.
I will work on that. 3 minutes left now in the fourth quarter.
2nd and 7.
Ricky Prate goes in motion. The pitch is going to go to Samba. Now what's going to be nice here, if Coach Grove can get I think what he wants to do right now is move the ball downfield a little bit and not take a chance on putting a lot of pressure on backup players to maybe lose the ball. Stranger things have happened, although I don't think Norristown needs to score again. They have enough points to win. And with this schedule, they survived this week they're going to have additional time to prepare for that tough Penn Ridge game. So, and that advantage is going to go also to Penn Ridge. So both teams next week should be healthy, fresh, and well prepared. And in that case, what usually happens, the better team wins.
And right now, Tom, the way the Norristown Eagles are playing, it is going to be extremely difficult with their well-balanced offense. Just as Prate receives a pass on that play, their well-balanced offense, along with their swarming defense, Norristown Eagles are going to be difficult to beat.
Yeah, they look real good and very impressive here in the early part of the season. About a third of the season over right now. A little bit more than a third. They're going to move to 5-0. And as you say, they have offensive weapons, big, fast receivers, small, quick receivers, strong runners in Samba, elusive runners like Hakeem Jones and John Jacobs. They have a smart offensive line, good leadership. Yeah, they have all the pieces. They have all the pieces. That's why they're 5-0. That's why they're ranked 6th in the state. And first bit of that credit goes to the kids, but not to forget Coach Roger Grove and his very dedicated and hard-working coaching staff.
Andy DiCarlo Antonio in on the stop.
It's going to be a 2nd down and about 4 now for the Eagles. Minute 5 left in the game.
Right, I don't think you'll see either team stop the clock at this point, because realistically, the Panthers are not capable of scoring 21 points in such a short time. Norristown's going to keep the ball on the ground. They don't want to prolong the agony. They want to get off here healthy and start getting in a mental frame of mind to prepare for Penn Ridge. There's the pitch to Samba. I think it would be safe now to get Samba out of the game. You don't want to see him go down with an injury. He was injured early part of the game. And you can almost take a knee here anyway.
Yeah, just 35 seconds left. And again, you know, just to reiterate what we said earlier, the Cheltenham Panthers certainly have nothing to hang their head about here. I believe they played a great game and really a hard-fought game.
I see number 32 now. Is he in the backfield or is he a tight end?
Well, number 32 is Jason Thompson. He's a 5'10", 180-pound junior, should be running back.
You know, Coach Grove and I must be on the same page. Who did he take out? Lou Samba.
Well, a bit of prophecy there yourself, Coach McGee.
Well, we've clicked tonight, Coach. It's been a pleasure working with you. Number 32, we want to correct, is Jason Thompson. Played an outstanding game. All right. The final score here at historic Roosevelt Field is Norristown 21, Cheltenham nothing. Norristown moves to 5-0, overall 3-0 in the Liberty Division of the Suburban 1 American Conference. Cheltenham unfortunately falls to 0-5, but they were one of the most impressive 0-5 teams, Billy, that we'll see.
Absolutely, and you know, just again, a great football game on a Thursday afternoon, a strange week to prepare, only 3 days. And just a great football game for high school football.
All right, on behalf of the Norristown Area School District and the television network, I want to thank Bill Michaels for sharing with me a very, very positive experience here in the broadcast booth. And we want to congratulate the Norristown Eagles and hope that every one of the students continue to support the program. Signing off here from Roosevelt Field, I'm Tom McGee. Thank you.
Norristown Eagles move to 5-0.